Hello and good afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to today's episode of the PivotCast. I'm your host, Sarah the Pivoter. Here on the PivotCast, I interview super rad humans from around the world doing rad things in all walks of life. This is a platform to share their voice, their story, and bring more value to you. In this live interview, we're going to hear some super rad ideas from Lisa Drennon, and we're going to have the DL on some simple steps for self-forgiveness so that we can get out of those negative cycles and move forward in life. Now, why is that something that we want to get out of? Well, it's not great to be stuck beating ourselves up over past mistakes, and we can't take action and move forward. So we're going to go through when we forgive, we don't forget. So she's going to share with us some aroma-cognitive behavior reset techniques which combine the power of smell, breathwork, and thoughts to gain a new perspective on how to forgive yours truly. And this is something I know myself and all of us, we can all benefit from. So Lisa was born and raised in Rochester, New York. She's a loyal wife, mom, and friend, loves the Lord, building relationships and helping others soar. She's the author of Forgiving the Girl Inside, Finding Balance, Freedom, and Fun in Your Life, and founder of Divine Timing Ministries, a safe place for women seeking post-abortion care. As an empowerment mentor, she incorporates her certification as a financial coach and aroma-cognitive behavior practitioner to help courageous women post-abortion trust their intuition again without the need for external validation. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the amazing Lisa online with us. Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for being here with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah, so Lisa and I met in a group on Facebook where we get to play with a lot of really other amazing women, and we connected over some similar stories that we were sharing in the group and decided to talk about self-forgiveness because especially for women, we hold ourselves up to such high standards, and it can be something even as small as, what we made for breakfast that day. So Lisa, how did you come into this space? What was it about this forgiveness aspect that really sang true for you? Would you mind telling us a little bit more about your story?
Absolutely. And I actually can do it without crying because the first time I shared this, I couldn't even stop the tears or see through them. So prior to the age of 17, I found myself pregnant 3 times. 2 ended in abortion. And I stuffed the emotions, looked in the mirror, power of mirror talk, and told myself I was dirt, trash, murderer, all kinds of things I called myself, and swore I would never tell, never ever talk about it. I was with a boy, a man, who was a gaslighter, total control of me, narcissist. He would tell me to jump. I would ask how high, did everything for him, and didn't really have a voice or a say. So I couldn't make a decision. After the first one, it was actually just the anniversary last week of that back in 1985. It still affects me emotionally, physically. I was just pulled. I was crying a drop of a hat all throughout the day, unexpectedly, not even realizing, even though I actually did forgive myself, finally, on May 7th of 2021, processing it, refusing to process it really made me angry and disgust. If you're into movies, Inside Out is one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
And I most identify with the little character Disgust.
oh.
Followed by anger. This was my personality. I wore black all the time. I swore. I was angry. I overate, overdrank, got really heavy into drugs and stuff just to try to bury the feelings. And 2012, after being in counseling for years and years and reading all kinds of books about anger, I did this class about forgiving yourself. And I really explored the word forgiveness and understood it and applied it to everybody else but me, because I knew everyone thinks that when you forgive, you have to forget. No, you're never, ever going to forget what happened, because we remember, it's stored in our subconscious. Things trigger us.
Right.
And I was taught to ignore all of that. Oh, forget about it. You have to forgive, turn the other cheek. I thought that meant that person had to come back into my life, that they had permission to hurt me again, and I would have to keep letting the cycle repeat itself. When I understood what it really meant, I realized, no, I can have healthy boundaries. I can forgive you. I don't even have to tell you about it. But then how do I process forgiveness, and when is it going to stop hurting? And I realized in order to forgive, I had to grieve. Well, you can't grieve something that you totally ignore.
Right.
So I started peeling back the layers and going through. In 2019, I was introduced to Young Living, and I was building a team, and I was working with the leader who introduced me to aroma freedom technique.
Okay.
And we got an oil out, and she took me through this 5-minute reset, which we're going to do in a couple minutes. We use the oil Valor. It doesn't matter what oil you use. You can use an organic flower. You can use a scented tea bag. It's just the power of scent when it hits our olfactory system. Shifts really happen quickly.
Yeah.
So you're talking, I was in therapy from 1986 until 2020. And I could not see any shifts. I was so angry. I mean, I was angry to the point where if you said something to me and it triggered me, I'd bite your head off. I turned into a completely different person. So here I am forgiving everyone else. And I had a counselor that said, well, why is Lisa so angry? What does Lisa want? Well, no one ever asked me what I wanted before. And I said, I just want peace. Well, how do you get peace? And since I was a little girl, I've asked why. It drove my mom crazy. And I'm like, because I have this turmoil. I get angry. I lock myself in the bathroom to get away from my family, and I just want to scream at the top of my lungs. And they're like, well, have you done something that you haven't forgiven yourself for? I'm like, no, I haven't done anything. I'm not telling you. I swore I would never tell.
Right.
So they continued to, go through, I got a mentor in 2014, and we continued to explore it. And of course, I wasn't going to tell anyone about my abortions because I was so full of shame and guilt. And I figured if people would know, especially being a Christian, they would judge me. And, I was a big people pleaser.
Right.
So I started this class called The Healing Journey and really started looking at my why and my beliefs. And I understood that in order to heal from what I did, I had to grieve it. Well, I didn't want to grieve it. I didn't want to touch that because, you go back to your memories and you have to relive them. No, I'm not reliving that. No way. Not going to happen. So something I started, like back in 2013, I started a gratitude journal and giving thanks. And, I had a list of 10 things, and I would explore these words. I went on a 1-word journey every year. I would get a new word and I would explore the words, and I kept coming back to forgiveness. So when I started my online coaching business in August of 20, I was fiddling with my niche, and I was really into health and fitness and working out. Oh yeah, so you're going to be a health coach. And it goes in perfectly because, you got the 4 pillars of health. And I put 28 women through my program, and I was just like, oh my God, they're going to drive me crazy. I can't stand this. If I hear one more woman whine about food restrictions, right? So I connected with an author's coach who was amazing at just like formatting your niche and getting down to the nitty-gritty. And we outlined the book, Forgiving the Girl Inside. And because, well, here's your niche. You're going to help women heal from, past mistakes. I said, because I'm a certified aroma freedom cognitive behavior therapist. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. They're like, yeah, this is, and they're like, not only that, but this is a book. I'm like, yeah, right. You think I'm going to share my story with people? What are you, high? No way. No way. I swear I would never tell. And that would be a great title for the opening chapter. That could be the core of the book. And I'm like, you're nuts. So I sat on it, and I'm like, what's this forgiveness stuff? Let's dig deeper, and let's get down to like the why. So I have this thing where I call it the 7 deep flip, and it's asking yourself why 7 times. Why do I refuse to forgive myself? And then you keep doing this. And I realized I couldn't forgive myself because I couldn't forget, because I had so many triggers, and every single time you have a woman issue, you have your monthly, you have those mood swings, you're craving that chocolate, like I would be walking down the street and I would get a pain. And I would talk to my doctor about it. It's like, oh, and I had a C-section for my firstborn, and they're like, oh, it's just scar tissue or whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, I read this book, I'm still reading it. The Body Keeps a Score.
Yes,
I think you're reading it too, right?
book. Yeah, excellent book.
Yeah. And I realized, no, this is unprocessed grief. I need to heal from this. So when I realized that I deserve forgiveness and that I could go through, I actually did an aroma-cognitive behavior strategy where I went back to the girl inside. We went back to my 16-year-old self, and we had a conversation, and we forgave ourselves, and we joined together. I have this amazing modality where past self, present self, and future self come together, and we make a pact and an agreement to move forward so that we can do what we're designed to do, and that nothing is going to stop us. And that when we do get a trigger, we're not going to ignore it anymore. We're going to grab it, and we're going to work through it. We're going to do our 7 deep flip, and we're going to find out why.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible journey. And when I realized that I didn't have to forget, and I was able to forgive myself, I went through this process where we, from 2018 until 2021, I connected, really, truly forgave myself for having the abortions. I thought I did it in January of 19, but I knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. Mm-hmm. So as I was coaching my clients and going through, their journeys of healing, I was going through the process as well. And I was like, okay, what is it that I'm holding on to? And I realized that I couldn't look in the mirror and compliment myself. And the power of mirror talk, every single day I would get ready. And especially if I woke up late and I wasn't able to do my me time routine, and I would curse myself. You're lazy, you overslept, you're always late, you can't do anything right. And it was just this constant beating myself up verbally. And I'm like, so one day I was like, stop. I was actually taking a class. It was a boot camp for the healing journey. And I was writing out my beliefs and what I believe about myself and why it's true. And I realized I need to forgive myself. So on May 7th of 2021, I was doing acupuncture, and aroma oils were diffusing, and I was relaxing, and I was like, I really truly want to forgive myself. And I had a visual of my babies, Michael and Tamara, who came on either side of me and kissed me on the cheek and said, Mommy, we forgive you. God forgives you. Please forgive yourself so you can do what you're supposed to do. And I'm just sat there and I just cried. And I was just like, wow, that was so powerful. And I realized that I deserved forgiveness. And it's funny because I hear people say all the time, I'm never going to forgive. Never.
Yeah.
And those are powerful words. And I'm like, well, what do you think that means, that you're never going to forgive? Who are you hurting?
Right.
And it's because they think that once you forgive one, you have to tell the person, no, you don't ever. Just saying those words, I forgive you, totally releases you and helps you move forward.
Absolutely.
And the other person, if it is somebody else, you don't have to tell them, and you're never, ever going to forget it. And if you do decide, we talk about forgiveness, but you have to reconcile the relationship. Once somebody betrays you, that trust is gone. So I felt like I had betrayed myself because I let somebody else influence my decision. Right. And as a result of that, I didn't even know I couldn't trust my intuition. So all of these years, I couldn't make a decision without asking 7 people.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think I should do? I mean, from career to marriage to friends. And then I would only trust.
What do I want to eat for dinner?
Exactly. And I would only trust certain people with certain things. Right. So I was always prejudging. And if you remind me of my ex, oh no, you're out. I don't care how nice of a person you are. You triggered me. I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
So I would start these fights and stuff. So looking back, I'm like, wow, what a hot mess.
But now your hot mess is your message, and you get to use that, as you did in the book with the story, to be able to let other people feel seen and heard so that they can face themselves in the mirror again. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. And it takes we all talk about, getting through the layers. And when you do the work, I mean, it took me over 30 years to do the work, because I had this false pretense and I needed permission. My inner child thought I needed permission from all these external people in order to move forward. And when I realized, you know what, I know. And then I started getting into trusting my intuition again. And I was just like, wow. And now I don't even like to ask people for their opinions. And if I do, it's like, okay, only reason I want your opinion is because I'm not sure if I'm seeing the full picture.
Right.
And then I end up making my own thing. And actually, I started doing this with my husband. He's been married. We've been together for 32 years. And he's like, you've changed. I'm like, yes, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? We're supposed to be growing. But it's like, but you used to sit and talk to me about things, and then we would make a decision together. He goes, now you just make decisions by yourself. I go, yep, that's exactly what I do. I let you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If you have a different opinion, maybe I'll hear it, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I get to choose. It's my choice.
We all get to choose for ourselves, right? We can't choose for other people, but we can choose for ourselves.
Yeah. And especially like being in a relationship, even regardless, like I know like a lot of, like I'm 54 years old. I have a lot of friends who go to their moms and say, Mom, what do you think I should do? And their moms direct their paths. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, why aren't you making that own decision? Well, I don't want to mess up. I've messed up so much. Okay, well, you need to forgive yourself for messing up because we all make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And when you could,
and our moms.
Exactly. But if you can stop and forgive yourself for saying like, you know what? Yeah, I screwed up. So what? What did I learn from that? What can I take from that? If we give thanks in all circumstances, and we know if we can look at our circumstances and see the good that came out of it, what we learned from it, and grab that perspective instead of going into that automatic mode of looking at the negative. Like we're all wired to focus on the negative, to criticize.
Yeah.
But when you look in the mirror and you're a beautiful person, like you are made wonderfully. Like there's so many beautiful things about yourself. So why aren't you telling yourself those things? You wouldn't let anyone talk to you that way, right?
Right.
Or, if you're a mom and you have kids, you would never, ever let anyone talk to your kids like that. So why do you talk to yourself that way?
Yeah, I love that.
And when I started realizing that, I was just like, okay. So now I give myself morning pep talks. Just look in the mirror and I'm like, you're amazing. You're spectacular. And, it's awesome. I used to write in lipstick on my mirror every morning, you are special. You are beloved. And like as my kids were growing up, they would see like go into the bathroom mirror and brush their teeth and they'd see lipstick on the mirror with a message. And that was kind of cool.
That's nice. I have a friend who, when you open the mirror for where he keeps, toothbrush, toothpaste, everything, he's got Post-it notes with these little affirmations for himself. And so, it's every time he opens that, he sees it. When I stay over, I open it and I see it. And I remember the first time, because I didn't think that he'd be into that kind of stuff. And when the first time I saw it, that's so powerful. He's like, yeah, it's just a little reminder when I'm feeling down that's something that I can then, when I close it, look at myself and just repeat it. One of the things that I do as well, like when I'm feeling really heavy or getting into that mode of the inner critic and I feel overwhelmed or anxiety, once I recognize it, I do my best to say, okay, I'm choosing this. I'm going, what do I want to choose next? And I'll go to the mirror and I'll just say to myself, and by the way, you can swear on my podcast, and I'll just say, you're Sarah the motherfucking pivoter, and you fucking got this. And it's powerful. And it's like, yeah, that's right. Okay, boom, I feel good again. Even just saying that now, I was like, all right, what are we going to do today? What magic can we create, Lisa? But it is so powerful. And I think also one thing you mentioned about forgetting, so many people think that forgiveness means forgetting, or they think that forgiveness means condoning, right? That they condone what took place, or that they are accepting it as like, yeah, that was okay, it happened. But that's not what forgiveness is. Can you go into that a little bit more as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Forgiveness doesn't mean anything about that. It does not give permission to the other person saying it's okay. Forgiveness is just basically letting yourself free of the negative thoughts that control your mind because you're holding on to all that hurt. So when somebody offends us, betrays us, it hurts and it impacts us. And, the sense, all relationships have the foundation of trust. And if you don't have that, you don't have a relationship. So you have to grieve that loss because you've put so much, most of the people that we need to forgive is somebody that we're very close to.
Yes.
I had a horrible relationship with my mom. She passed away in 2018 and we reconciled before she passed on. But for years, I didn't talk to her because she just had this, hurt people, hurt others. But she was just so vindictive towards me and controlling, and I was rebellious. And she wanted me to do things a certain way, even as an adult. And I was like, no, this is you. You need your own boundaries. And I didn't talk to her for several years because of it. And I refused to forgive her because every time I forgave her, the 7 times 70, she would cross the line and do it again. And it's like, how many times do you think it's okay for you to repeat this behavior?
Right.
I've had enough. And if you can't, respect me, then no, we're not going to have a relationship. And that was the hardest thing because she didn't see her grandkids for 7 years.
Right.
But I had to keep myself safe. And because I refused to forgive, there was no reconciliation. And I come from, Italian Catholic family. We're very loud and in your face and swearing, screaming. And then the next day, it's like, oh, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, I was like the black sheep of the family. I was like, no, that is not okay. You cannot do this to me. I am a human being and I deserve respect.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be yelled and screamed at and called every single name under the sun. And then the next day you're going to act like nothing happened. No. And I don't want my kids growing up this way.
This sounds very familiar from the Polish Catholic side of my family as well.
There you go. Maybe it's a European thing. I don't know. Yeah. But it was every single day from as long as I can remember. And it was exhausting. I was the only girl. I have 3 older brothers. So I was treated differently as well. And I was threatened and told that I needed to be docile and this and that. It's like, screw that. No, I'm my own person.
You're like, I'm a rebel. This is why you're on this podcast.
Definitely a rebel in the family. And because I bucked the system, they would try to get harder and get controlling. And I would just no, I'm not having this. So when I decided to forgive my mom, I told her, I go, I forgive you. I don't understand why you did what you did. I get it. I go, but I'm going to protect myself. So, we can start having a relationship, but there's going to be limitations. We're going to meet in a public place, only for a couple hours. And if you say something, I'm going to politely tell you, listen, it's not okay to talk about that. Okay. And you need to respect me. And so, and I always remembered, so getting together with my family after not talking to them for 7 years, it was like eggshells. So it's because I was waiting, I was waiting to be triggered. And I didn't want to live like that. And I realized I just needed to say, you know what? I forgive you. I didn't have to tell her directly or anyone else in the family. But I said it out loud to myself, I forgive my mom she called child abuse on me 7 times when I was a young mom. And when I said that, I was able to look at it and say, well, why did she do that? What was she afraid of? And understand that she was going through her own stuff that she had dealt with when she was a young mom. And I just said to her, listen, I don't get why you did it. I sort of do, but I forgive you and I'm not going to allow that to happen. You need to trust that I'm a good mom and that I'm not going to hurt my children. So whatever you have in your mind, you need to stop.
Yeah.
And then we would have a conversation. And then when we did get together, if she started accusing me or undermining me with my kids, I would say, okay, you crossed the line. We're either going to leave or you're going to change. You're going to stop. Right. And then, she would make the decision. But if she continued to do what she used to do, I would just get up and leave. It's like, okay, we got to go now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that was easy. And then when I realized, okay, I can do that with everybody. I forgive you, but we're not going to have a relationship. I'm never going to trust you again. And then I would move away from people who were toxic and I would move towards people who weren't. Mm-hmm. But I was always very guarded, always very can I trust you? Maybe not. Right. With myself, when I realized I needed to forgive myself, I didn't know how to do that. So I did an aroma-cognitive session and learned how to forgive myself. So I, met with another practitioner and we went through a visual and I love sunflowers. So we did a garden. I visualized a garden of sunflowers. So if you could picture a 6 by 6 foot brick wall, totally surrounded, and just a corner of it was crumbling because I understood forgiveness. I knew it was for other people, but I didn't think it was for me. Mm-hmm. So in this session, it was 60 minutes. We, combined the oils with the cognitive, and we went through this journey of where I did not forgive myself. So it was my 16-year-old self, but it was even more things that were added that I had totally forgotten that I had done after that. So we went through this process, and all of a sudden, like, the brick wall just came crumbling down, and it turned into a beautiful garden, like a white brick wall with sunflowers and benches.
Yeah.
And I was like able to walk out of this garden, and it was just it became a sanctuary. So instead of becoming a prison, it became a sanctuary, and it was just like, wow. And every time I felt that I deserved unforgiveness, I would say, Lisa, I forgive you. You deserve forgiveness. And I would picture this garden, and I would grab the oils, and I would, go into a meditation. I would breathe in, and we breathe in 7 times with the oils, and we do barefoot. Something about being barefoot.
Yeah.
Totally grounded. If you can be outside, it's even better. But I live up north, so I live in Rochester, New York, where it's cold a lot. So it's not a place where you can go barefoot. So in the house, I'll do it, and it's just incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
I love that. Yeah, smell is very powerful. I mean, there's those, sometimes I remember once walking down the street and someone was wearing the cologne of like my high school boyfriend. And I was like, what? Because he didn't live in that place, right? So it was just really, it took me straight back to high school. And it was just this like whiff of the scent. And it's just a powerful thing. So if you can combine, a therapy session with the smell, I can totally see how then later smelling this scent would help bring you back into that energetic state that you want to be in.
Yeah, and it happens really quickly. So I'll do a little demonstration. This is called an aroma reset, and this is it's a combination. So what happens, I don't know if you've ever read Zero Limits by Dr. Joe Vitale. No. Have you heard of Ho'oponopono?
No.
It's a Hawaiian reconciliation practice. It's in the book Zero Limits. You can Google it. But it's a reconciliation. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So the first time I was introduced to this aroma-cognitive behavior, it was what I'm going to show you right now. And it was incredible. It gave me shifts. So if you are watching and you want to follow and you don't have oil, you can use a fresh fruit, an orange, and just peel it back. You can do it without any scent at all. It works as well. In my opinion, it doesn't work as quickly. But if you have a scented tea bag, if you have like vanilla or something, or a scented candle, you can do it that way too. It's just the power of scent. It hits that olfactory system, and it just goes into the amygdala, and it just helps break through the patterns so much faster. So yeah. So basically what you do is you think about something that is really overwhelming. So something that's on your mind, it might keep you up at night. It could be something, doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something like maybe you just got into an argument. Maybe your boss is, upsetting you, or your kids are driving you nuts, or maybe there's a project that you know you need to do. Like me, I'm trying to clean up my basement, get rid of some stuff. And it's like, it's on my mind. So it could be anything that's just nagging you.
Right.
So think about that situation, that thing. And like I said, if you could be barefoot, it's even better. Feet planted on the ground. And what you want to do is think about that situation and just close your eyes and think about the thoughts that go with that situation. And receive all the thoughts that come into mind. And think about the one word feeling that describes that situation. And if more than one word comes up, the feeling that's the strongest. So maybe you're nervous or anxious or angry or frustrated or sad, overwhelmed, whatever it is. Maybe it's a good word. Maybe it's a positive word. Maybe you're happy or joy-filled, or, it doesn't have to always be negative. And then where in your body do you feel that one word feeling? So it could be in your chest. It could be in multiple places. It could be in your thumb. It could be in your jawline, top of your head, back of your neck. Sometimes it could be in your hips. It could be in multiple places. So wherever it is for you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the intensity of that feeling? First number, whole number that you feel. A lot of times people are at a 9 or a higher. Maybe it's an 8. And what you want to do is grab your scent, put it in the palm of your hand. Or if you have something, if it's not an oil and you have like a flower or a fruit, just peel that back or hold it up to your nose. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a scent tent. And we're going to take a big deep breath in through our nose. We're going to hold our breath and we're going to slowly let it out through our mouth. You're going to repeat that. You're going to keep that breath going through your nose, out through your mouth. And as you're breathing in the scent, you're breathing in, focusing on that situation, that feeling, connecting the scent with those thoughts, with that one word feeling. Where in your body you're feeling it, just breathe into that. And this time as you're breathing in, I just want you to picture yourself in that moment. Look at yourself in your eyes. Have your present self meet your past self. And lock eyes with yourself. And as you see yourself, just say, I'm sorry. Breathe in, hold it, and slowly let it out through your mouth. And take a big deep breath in through your nose. As you're breathing in, looking at yourself, thinking of those thoughts, say, please forgive me. Slowly let it out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, breathe in, hold your breath, meet with yourself, and just say thank you. Slowly let it out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, breathe in, lock eyes with yourself, and just say I love you. Slowly let it out through your mouth. Take a big breath in through your nose. Hold your breath. Slowly let it out through your mouth. Gentle blow. Just feel your breath escape your body. And just really feel that feeling of peace come over your body. Just really know, whatever that situation is, you've got it. Take a big deep breath in. Hold your breath. And slowly let it out through your mouth. Continue the breath until you feel that complete peace. And when you're ready, you can lower your hands. And you can open your eyes. How do you feel?
Yeah, really good. I feel way calmer. I like that. I have done this exercise before, but I didn't know the Hawaiian name for it. I'd done it before with David G. He's a meditation guru, and so he had a practice where with the breath we kind of repeated these 4 phrases, but we didn't hone in on a specific event. It was just kind of a general thing. So yeah, that was really powerful.
Yeah, and that's how aroma-cognitive behavior was introduced to me. And I was like, what just happened?
What sorcery is this?
I was having a really difficult summer that year with a coworker, and I had focused on that situation. I had so much clarity afterwards. I was like, wow, what I need to find out more about this. So that's how I ended up getting certified and doing it. So it's been very powerful. We get into sessions that are, go way into depth, and we do different exercises, journaling included, and really focusing on our future, reverse engineering it. So it just really helps get those shifts. I like to tell my clients, shifts happen.
Yeah. They do. And shifts happen. So shit happens, but also shifts happen when that happens. So it's just us
Absolutely.
choosing, what direction that we're going to pivot into. And with that intention and then the clarity, we can make more aligned choices.
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful. Lisa, thank you so much. That was a beautiful exercise. And I hope everyone who gives it a try can share it with us in the comments, how that went for you and where can people find you should they wish to learn more about what it is that you do and, how can they reach out?
Yeah, the best place is my website, lisadrennon.com. So LISA, D as in David, RENN as in Nancy, O as in Nancy.com. Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing a full demonstration explaining the aroma-cognitive behavior. So if you'd like to join the workshop, go to the website, lisadrennon.com. You can register. It's called Reveal to Heal from the Inside Out.
Beautiful. I love that. So I did comment that will be there in the comments once this video posts so people can easily click, come and find you. And I know that on Facebook, it's your name. Is there any other platform, social media wise, that you like to connect with people on?
Yeah, Facebook on my personal page, just Lisa Drennon is probably the next best place. That's where I hang out most of the time. One of the two.
Perfect. All right. Well, I look forward to that. If I have time on Thursday, then I'll definitely join you for the full demonstration as well.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Thank you so much for the viewers that have been with us live today. And also thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure to have you on this episode of the podcast. And for everyone who's watching this later, please do share with us your biggest takeaway. This is a very important topic and one that doesn't get enough attention, in my opinion, because we're trying to fit into cultural norms and societal norms and, impress rather than express who we are. And so as we move more towards the true expression, we can get into this space of compassion and forgiveness. And this is definitely what the world needs more of at the moment. So, thank you, Lisa. And remember, for everyone out there, real pivoters are human beings just like me and you. All it takes is the choice to do something different. So go out and choose something that's going to make you sparkle today and keep on keeping on. We'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you.